This whole situation with Francis Ngannou and his contract, these UFC fighters should pay very, very close attention. The reason why is because Francis is doing something that we haven't really seen before. We've seen other stuff like Georges St-Pierre and his coming back and then not fulfilling his contract's obligations. But we haven't really seen a guy that is a champion who's coming out and saying stuff like, hey, I'm not fighting again for $500,000, which is his current contract. He's flat out saying that this is the last fight on my deal and I'm willing to fight out my contract and renegotiate something that's much more beneficial to him. Why is this important to UFC fighters? It's because the UFC is in a position where they've never been in before. They have this champion who is refusing outright to re-sign for the exact same thing or whatever the UFC is negotiating. He's saying, I'm going to fight out my contract. I'm going to have 0 fights left on my contract and still be champion. That's if he beats Ciryl Gane. If he beats Ciryl Gane and he's fulfilled his 8 fights, there's something that the UFC has called the Champions Clause. What happens is that he's automatically given 3 more fights on his contract or up to a year. What Francis is saying and what Francis is doing, Francis has been very clear. He's basically saying that if the UFC does not give me what I want, he's willing to wait a year and be a free agent afterwards, regardless of what the legal battle will be, if he's delayed a little bit longer than a year because of medical suspensions and whatnot. But Francis is out here and saying very, very clearly that he's not going to fight for the current contract rate that he has. And rightfully so. If he believes strong enough that he's worth more, the UFC is either going to have to pay him or deal with the consequences. We've seen other fighters complain and talk about fighter pay and thinking that they should deserve more. But we haven't really seen a guy with this amount of leverage. A guy that has the potential to be a champion and force the UFC to either sign him or let him go. Having your heavyweight champion, one of the pillars of your company, leave the company because of a couple $100,000 is a very, very bad look. Imagine if Francis Ngannou wins the title against Ciryl Gane, waits out a year, and goes out as a free agent and signs with Bellator. How does the UFC look in terms of fighter pay? And the whole conversation about how these fighters are getting exactly what they're worth, or they're getting a fair share of the revenue. This conversation has been going on for a very, very long time. Francis is in a very unique situation, and I think that other UFC fighters should pay attention to him, to exactly what's going to happen. He's put it out there very, very publicly that he wants more money, he wants a boxing carve-out plan, he does not want to give up 50% of whatever that boxing bout would be. That's based off of what the rumors about Conor's contract was when he went over and faced Floyd Mayweather. He's come out and said all of these details. Essentially what needs to happen still is the fight between Francis Ngannou and Ciryl Gane. If Francis wins, of course he has a lot more leverage than if he were to lose. If he were to win, automatically that Champions Clause is enacted. If he loses, well, his fight contract is over and now he can go on and fight at a different organization. He might be able to renegotiate with the UFC with not as much money as he wanted, but something better than what he currently has. What do you think? Let us know down in the comments below. Do you think UFC fighters should care about this fight? And what do you think about the whole situation? We really appreciate a thumbs up on this video, it really helps us out, and we always love to hear from you.